Okay, so good morning, everyone. Okay, as the particular baseline of this particular presentation has already been told to you. Okay, that after your BR program or your BID program, like how you can switch on to this particular specialization for if you want to pursue a career in heritage conservation. Okay, so in this particular presentation, we are going to just cover a few certain basic things, okay, so that actually you get a very kind of clear. I won't say that too clear, but at least that yes, in the basic level, like what are the actual needs and requirements that you may need to follow if you really want to pursue a degree in career path in heritage conservation after finishing your graduation, after finishing your BR, after finishing your BID. What are the some of the renowned institutes in India and abroad? Okay, what is the actual process? Okay, then what are the various scopes, prospects when we are talking about the profession? Okay, when you are talking about the academic aspect of this particular area, of this particular domain, and along with that how actually this particular domain area provides a multidisciplinary approach as far as pursuing this particular specialization is concerned. So let's just begin. um, like how conservation is defined. Okay, it means the preserving and restoring historic structures also while respecting the original character and design. That means like we have mostly seen the construction of new buildings, okay, designing of new buildings, okay, new buildings, new institutional buildings, new shopping malls, commercial complexes, okay, bus stands, transport terminals, okay, hubs, and all similar types of things, housing complexes coming up. Okay, now all are having kind of new characters. Okay, now when it comes to preserving and restoring any particular building, any particular built up heritage with heritage properties, with cultural associated properties with it, okay, which may have a historical value, it may have certain other cultural values, okay, it may be associated with some historical event. Okay, considering the materials, okay, and all other everything that has been used, the construction techniques, okay, the masonry and everything, considering the culture of the place, okay, the value of the place, there is something called authenticity. Okay, the authenticity of the building needs to be maintained. Okay, that means in the name of preservation and restoration, we can't imbibe new characteristics, okay, new features into any historical building. We have to protect it, we have to restore it, we have to conserve it. At the same time, also we have to keep each and everything, all the associated values of the built up heritage structure intact. So it goes beyond simple maintenance. Conservation, many a times, it is a very there is a mistake that happens. Most often, there are people think that it is all about just maintaining. It's all about just some sort of repairing. But it's not just only repair and maintenance. Okay, conservation goes much far beyond than that. It involves a kind of good comprehensive research, which involves study of the building's history, conducting structural analysis that how the entire structure has come up several years before. It may be 100 years, it may be 1,000 years, okay, it may be any, the timeline, the time period can range, and applying appropriate conservation methods. So there are various sort of methods, there are various sorts of techniques, many of the things, in short, in a brief way, we will be discussing some of them, so that it gives you a bit clear idea that what actually the subject is all about, the specialization is all about. Importance, I was just talking in the previous slide only, the various types of values, heritage values. Now it can be a cultural heritage, say for example, each and every culture, each and every community, each and every place, each and every region, okay, it has gone through historically over a period number of years, it has gone through various sorts of changes and evolutions, the entire culture, the entire community. If we look at ourselves, few years before, a very simple example, like our childhood and our now what we are, it's not the same, we have undergone evolution. Like that, culture and any particular community associated with that culture, area, region associated with that culture undergoes a huge number of series of evolutions. Okay, So in the same way, that evolution can also be reflected. It also gets reflected. It also gets somehow represented in the like the built up heritage, the built up structures that come up, okay, in the different periods. Like may it be the masonry techniques, the construction techniques, may it be the elements, the architectural elements, may it be the various like kind of eclectic features, whatever may it be. The community identity, yes, like from the built up structures, the built up heritage, we get a particular identity. Like as you all know, that historically the different types of architectural styles, may it be Greek, may it be Roman, may it be Islamic, may it be any other vernacular style, each and every architectural style like represents a particular set of like unique features, unique authentic features, unique authentic cultural social associated features actually, like that, yes, from which we can by looking at the building only we can make out, we can identify that yes, this building belongs to that era, this building must be definitely belonging to that era in which this particular building was used for this like purpose. Like say for example, like the remnants, the remains, the ancient remains of the Nalanda, okay, in Nalanda, the present day Nalanda, 1,000 years before, many years before, it used to be a kind of entire institute, university, okay, of the Buddhists like movement, the Buddhist religious movement. Okay, they used to be monasteries, they used to be viharas where students used to study, students used to stay, all types of educational things, activities used to be carried out there. Okay, so by looking at this, we can identify clearly that yes, this used to be an Oriental institute in that period, in that era. And the legacy, definitely the legacy, each and every like what is legacy we all know, okay, the particular trademark, okay, signature style of the different like architectural styles when you look at, okay, may it be like whichever style we look at, okay, each and every style carries with it a legacy. Legacy means like say somehow or the other, even in the modern times also, in the modern period also, we are inspired by many of the architectural elements which are found in these buildings. Even in the modern construction also, we follow many of the methods which have like I don't know somehow evolved and got transferred throughout generations, and we are following the same. That's how we can say that yes, the legacy is continuing. Responsibilities, the key responsibilities of architectural conservators, like we all of us like here, like the ones like the sixth semester students actually who are all of you who are here, like we all have done measure drawing, we know what is measure drawing, okay, what is measure drawing, basically it's a kind of documentation, okay. So the first thing that needs to be done is the assessment and the documentation. That means a clear comprehensive detailed study of the entire building, okay. Next comes the research and analysis. That means a complete comprehensive study, okay, research, analytical, like you can say study of the documentation, interpretation of the documentation, okay, that has been done in the previous step to understand that yes, like how the building has come up, okay, several years before, how the building has been used, okay, it gives an idea that how the building has gone evolution, how many evolutions it has gone through, what those evolutions can be, could have been like, what changes all those evolutions might have like kind of brought along with it, and how like kind of the present state of the building, how those evolutions are somehow or the other responsible for that, okay. That is what we call the research and analysis after the documentation, after the initial measure drawing that is done. Then comes the planning, the development of comprehensive plans. Now, when it comes to conservation, one thing that it becomes very crucial, very important is that this is an age, this is an era of new modern development, right? So new buildings are coming up everywhere, as I said at the very beginning. Now, when it comes to conservation, okay, there needs to be very strictly defined, okay, properly, specifically defined like kind of guidelines, laws and bylaws, so that either or in any of the direction, neither the modern developments that are happening that can hamper the cultural and other associated values of the heritage structures, okay, nor the conservation preservation of the buildings, built up structures having the heritage values that can hamper the modern development. So that is a very big issue, big, very crucial factor that comes into play. Conservation planning. When a particular conservation plan is documented, there are many challenges with the architectural conservator, the conservation architect actually faces. Okay, because the two things, balancing the two things, it becomes a huge challenge, especially when it comes to the urban level. Okay, project management, like just I would like to cite one small example. You can just kind of explore little bit. Okay, informations about it are there everywhere. There is a particular movement which was initiated a few years before, like it has been more than 10 years, called the Hriday, HRIDAY, Hriday. Okay, there are several cities which have been listed under Hriday: Jaipur, Ujjain, Amritsar. Many of the cities are listed under Hriday. Okay, you can see which all are the cities listed under Hriday movement. Okay, all those Hriday cities are those cities where conservation planning follows a strict guidelines. Okay, and currently there are talks that to bring more and more cities under the Hriday movement, under the Hriday scheme. Project management, yes, that becomes a very like kind of a big thing. It's a big factor when it comes to the implementation, the actual application, the actual execution of all the plans on the ground. Okay, and again that becomes a big challenge, because when some particular project is initiated, okay, it takes a lots and lots of time for the entire plan to get executed, and within that time there are many evolutions that take place. Again, especially nowadays the evolution is very rapid in the science and technology fields. Okay, so again, like each and every conservation project, it goes for many years. There are many projects which have been like kind of going on since the last, like say 25-30 years. There have been projects. Educational requirements, just coming to the next half, the next part of this presentation, that was mostly that, yes, how the like kind of in a profession, the specialization, the domain is all about. Okay, what is the duty, responsibility of a conservation architect, of an architectural conservator. Coming to the requirements, you need to have a B.Arch or equivalent degree, which is a prerequisite. Then comes the master degree in conservation, which provides the in-depth knowledge of the preservation techniques and principles. Okay. Yes, the specialization areas, when you are talking about specialization areas, there are like 2-3 broad horizons. If we look at, there are absolutely like kind of a core field areas, okay, where you can work directly as a project architect. There are also research oriented areas where you can work in a very research oriented way, and also there are like kind of completely such types of places where you can like kind of impart education based on your things, actually your learnings that you have undergone in the 2 years of your specialization program, in case you pursue a career in this particular domain. The emerging trends, yes. Now, like what are the emerging trends in the conservation field? If we look at sustainable conservation, yes, involving materials and practices, like as you all know that sustainability is a huge issue nowadays, especially in the era of increased global warming, okay, greenhouse effect, where like ecological hazards are really always becomes a first like kind of a point of attention. Okay, sustainable heritage practices, conservation practices, which promote energy efficiency, minimize environmental impacts. Coming to the digital documentation, yes, which it should be ensured that advanced digital techniques are always used, like 3D scanning and laser mapping, okay, for creating detailed records of historical structures. And adaptive reuse. Now, coming to adaptive reuse, just I would like to point out a single thing, which will clearly give you an idea that what is actually adaptive reuse. Adaptive reuse means putting some old heritage, like building heritage structure having heritage values, into some new modernized use based on their spatial planning. Like say for example, if you go to Rajasthan, any city, Jaipur especially and Jodhpur, okay, most of the places, Bikaner, Jaisalmer, any place, there were used to be many forts, okay, fortifications. Most of them have been adaptive reuse. In terms of adaptive reuse, they have been converted into hotels, resorts and lodges, okay, places of residence for the tourists, travelers. Some of the case studies: the Eiffel Tower, the Parthenon, the Taj Mahal, like as you can see one example, okay, like before the conservation work, okay, gets initiated, how a particular site looks like, and after the entire thing that happens, how it looks like, the corresponding finished look. Okay, keeping all the authenticity and integrity of the building intact. Okay, So some of the challenges and ethical considerations, okay, like many a times it is seen that community participation is not done, okay, which is very much necessary in any particular conservation project, okay, that is involving the local people for all sort of help, for all sort of input intake, okay, public engagement, respecting the cultural values, which is many a times again not done, because say for example a project is happening, say for example in one particular place, okay, the culture of that place, okay, that particular communities that are inhabiting that particular place, whereas the architect who is actually going to work there from some other place, who is not so much exposed to the culture of that place, okay, somewhere that gap comes. So the scope for public engagement needs to be there. Community participation needs to be there. But many a times it is seen that it doesn't happen up to the mark. Finding sustainable solutions, somehow or the other, based on cost and time constraints, unsustainable practices, somehow or the other, find their way into the entire work, operations. And balancing preservation and modernization, like what I said at the very beginning. Okay. Sometimes, like modern things, they just come as barrier. Okay. Sometimes these things, they also like kind of project themselves as barriers. So that is again a very big challenge. Yes, like after pursuing this particular domain as your career path, there are scopes in government agencies like ASI, Archaeological Survey of India, okay, in any other like museum body. There are scopes in private conservation firms, like I hope all of you have heard about INTAC. INTAC is not a government body; it's a like government sponsored like umbrella organization. Basically, it's what you can say, like half government, half private, you can say. Research institutions, yes, there are many research institutions like sir, research institution name, if we look at, there are many. IHCN, okay, in Bangalore, that's a research institution. Internal organizations, yes, like many of the institutes, they have, like here we are now, like we have started the Heritage Club, okay, gradually, definitely we can remain positive that we will be growing into a bigger something in the coming future, okay. So like that, many of the institutes, they have developed like around a cells based on like conservation practices, okay. uh, Professional organizations and certifications, yes, definitely. You can become like you can say like member of any professional body, just like the IIA, okay. There is the National Trust for Historical Preservation, okay. There is the American Institute of Architects, the AIA. Yes, a part of the AIA, they usually largely focus on conservation projects a lot. And the ICOMOS, which is the technical body of the UNESCO, okay. United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, the UNESCO. ICOMOS. ICOMOS has got chapters all around the world based on countries. There is ICOMOS India, there is ICOMOS US, okay, there is ICOMOS Canada, different countries have got the ICOMOS chapters. Like Intac has got different city chapters. Like I think there is Intac Odisha also. Okay, like that, state chapters, city chapters, both. Some of the success stories we would like to share, okay, of some conservation architects who have been working since quite a long time in like Abha Narayan Lamba, who has been renowned for her meticulous restoration of historic sites like Qutub Minar in Delhi, the Jahanpana city walls, okay, where actually she has just kind of established her benchmark. Then across India, there are many of like them who are trying to revive the historical structures, thereby incorporating sustainable techniques while respecting also the original craftsmanship. Okay, starting from restoration of forts and palaces to the renovation of heritage homes. So yes, like we just cited one particular place, that is how it is a multidisciplinary approach. Like what are some of the other like stakeholders from other professions who can also become like successfully parts of any conservation project, like the craftspeople, okay, the craftsmen, okay, who play a crucial role sharing their skills and knowledge to ensure that the restoration process aligns with the methods and materials traditionally. Astrologers, okay, who are consulted to determine the timings and directions, yes, because many of the old heritage buildings, okay, they used to follow a lot, okay, all those oriental like principles like vastu, okay, like the axial like may it be the Egyptians, may it be the Chinese, may it be any other vernacular Indian style, whichever it is. They used to pay a lot of attention to these types of things. Community engagement, yes, the community participation involving the local people, which really goes unnoticed many of the times, okay, which you don't really pay attention to in most of the cases. So path forward, yes, like more and more young architects and crafts people, their skills should be nurtured, they should be motivated, encouraged to ensure that the knowledge and techniques required for conservation are passed down to the future generations. Community engagement, the second point, is a very vital point, which is for fostering a sense of ownership and responsibility for the preservation of architectural heritage through educational programs, participatory decision making, and local stewardship initiatives. Sustainability is again the key, okay, again, like something which is hampered, violated by because of the time and cost constraints, okay. Unsustainable practices and methods are most often, like somehow or the other, incorporated. Okay, let's have a look quickly at some of the top institutes of architectural conservation where you can pursue, okay, after your graduation, both in India as well as abroad. Just I would like all of you to just kind of pay a little bit attention to the names. Some of the prominent Indian institutes were actually like SPA Delhi, which offers MArch in conservation program. Then there is CEPT, Center of Environmental Planning and Technology in Ahmedabad, okay, which offers a postgraduate program in architectural conservation and restoration. Actually, the base degree is the same, okay, but the name sometimes it varies. Okay, like for the BID people, okay, for the Bachelor of Interior Design students actually who are here, NIFT, National Institute of Fashion Technology, Hyderabad, okay, like NIFT has many campuses, okay, like the Hyderabad campus of NIFT, they offer a specialized MDes program, which I think I am very much sure it is also open to the people from the other fields, allied domains from BID also, in heritage conservation and management, okay. So that is not the complete the proper MArch program. It also involves management. Okay. Then some of the globally renowned institutes abroad, the MIT, Massachusetts in Cambridge, USA. Okay, they offer a Master of Science in Building Technology with specialization in historic preservation program. Then the Harvard University Graduate School of Design in Cambridge, which offers a Master in Architecture MArch degree with a focus on historic preservation. And the UCL in London, the Bartlett School of Architecture, which again offers a Master of Science. So you can see the name varies. We call it the MArch, they call it MS, Master of Science in Architectural Conservation. Then there is Delft in Netherlands, which offers a Master of Science in Architectural Conservation, and ETH Zurich. Like there are many other departments. These are some of the renowned ones. Okay. In case if you are like kind of looking for a scholarship, looking for a proper program, okay, they have like I think like seasonal way in summer, autumn, winter, spring, like that way. 4 times I think they offer admission in a year. Like in most of the Indian institutes, like they offer only 1 time in a year or 2 times in some, I think. So some of the key admission requirements, you need to have a proper portfolio, okay, of all your graduation works, okay, that showcases your design skills, creative potential, and understanding of architectural principles. And then like for the abroad people, okay, uh, like IELTS, I think IELTS is applicable only for Canada and some of the institutes in UK and Australia, if I'm not wrong. TOEFL is for everyone. It goes universally for all the institutes in the West. Statement of purpose, that means you need to write a very proper like application where you need to write properly, citing, justifying with reasons properly, logically, that why you want to pursue architectural conservation as your career path. Okay, that is called the SOP or the statement of purpose. Even statement of purpose is required in the Indian institutes also, something which is compulsory. Okay, like if you are applying for more than one fields, you have to write SOP for more than one. Like along with conservation, if you are applying for some other field, say urban design, you have to write 2 separate SOPs, statement of purpose, for 2 different programs. So career prospects, yes, you can switch on to conservation planning. Okay, you can work in departments, okay, like say the Hriday program that I talked about, okay, they are taking conservation architects also. It's not like that only planners are being recruited. Okay, like on the basis of, I think, contractual like basis. Architect, yes, you can work independently or you can work with someone. Definitely, once you are passing out, you just can't immediately start working independently. You have to gain a proper, like, considerable experience for several years before, after which you can definitely start working as a consultant. Then you can work as a conservationist. Okay, like conservationist, where actually mostly it's a kind of inclined oriented more and more towards archaeology. Archaeology again is a different field. Like, say for example, if you are working in ASI, okay, there most of the like things will be works, tasks will be focused on archaeology. Okay, like the old remains, excavations and all. Okay, museology is again another thing, allied domain. Okay, and then you can, of course, like as I was saying in one of the previous slides, that you can also work in like softer areas, like as architectural historian. Okay, like which areas which involve more and more like kind of researching, comprehensive studies. Okay, then experiments and all, documentation, analysis. Okay, qualitative, quantitative analysis of the same documentation that have been done, that have been carried out. Okay, so these are mostly the career prospects that, yes, after pursuing architectural conservation as your career path, okay, after graduation, how you can work. It's not like that you have to only work as a core conservator. You can also work with other aligned domain people, professionals, in an aligned way, in a multidisciplinary way, collaborative way. It architectural conservation, it promotes collaborative approach on a very proper magnitude. Okay. So anyone having any kind of question, definitely you can put forward. Otherwise, that was all related to institutes, related to any kind of process. Yeah, I understand there is time left, but if you want, you can ask.
Now you are in sixth semester. If you have some kind of interest in architectural conservation,
Yes.
you can definitely, myself and Saptasi sir is there for you. If you want any kind of specializations, you want to do some kind of specializations for your career path. Different career paths, we have different types of experts. So
Like
in our heritage club, we'll try
in
to
the
work
beginning, there was a
for
question that is it only for the architecture people? No,
no,
there
it's
are
for all.
institutes where, ठीक है, नहीं ज्यादा सर एक्चुअली बोलना है नहीं, थोड़ा सा बायसनेस आ जाएगा नहीं तो. Okay, thank you for your time for exploring this topic. Let's hope it gives us something positive for the future. Okay.